The most money that I've ever made in cryptocurrency, investing in cryptocurrency, is when people are leaving, when people are not paying attention. Now you would say, well, that doesn't make sense. How are you making money when it looks like crypto's just dead, when things are just going down or they're just ranging in a certain range for months, sometimes even years? Now remember, I've been in crypto, if you haven't followed me, I've been in crypto for 11 years now. And if I had $1 for every time someone told me that crypto was dead, I'd make $1 million just by hearing people say that. See, right now it feels like 2022, like we're in this really nasty bear market. And if you think about altcoins and just the price of Bitcoin since the beginning of 2025, I mean, everything is down. Even Bitcoin, the king of all cryptos, it's lower today than it was at the beginning of 2025 when Trump came into office. And what people are missing is that the opportunity comes when it's really bad, when it looks like it's over, when it looks like it's never going to come back, when it looks like it's dead, when you and me and everybody else gets this feeling of despair, right? Typically, that's the best time to be buying. And it could last for months, it could last for a year. And then one day, out of nowhere, poof, market just turns around. I mean, you kind of saw it today. Projects were up 6, 12, 15, 20% in just a day. To put that into perspective, the average 401k returns 8 to 12% on a yearly basis throughout the entire year. But what I'm seeing right now is very similar to 2022, at least the sentiment is very similar to 2022. And like clockwork, whether you believe in the 4-year cycle, if that's a real thing or not, it's looked like it has been until recently. But regardless, it comes down to liquidity. And if that falls on a 4-year cycle, cool. If it doesn't, well, you just have more time to accumulate. But what you're seeing right now is people, they're selling at a loss. They're not dollar cost averaging. They're completely giving up. Now, these people that I'm talking about, which is most crypto investors, they have no fucking clue how to invest. They came into crypto thinking, I'm going to get rich overnight, and over a year or two, it doesn't happen. So then they decide to give up. And well, I've come to terms with the fact that no matter who you are, no matter if you're Jack Mallers, if you're Raoul Paul, if you're Coach Ty, it doesn't matter what we say. People are always going to sell the bottom and buy the top. And they're not going to listen to this conversation, and they're going to wonder why they lose. You see, from 2022 into 2023 and 2024, I made a shit ton of money. And I thought we were going to have a nice big rally into 2025 based on the 4-year cycle pattern, and that didn't play out this time. It played out every other halving cycle, every other time except for this one. So over the last 6 months, I've been really digging in and figuring out why. Why has this cycle been so different from previous cycles? Why didn't we have a blow off top? Why didn't any of the 21 top indicators, why did none of them hit? And there's a couple of reasons. The main reason is because, well, retail, the regular everyday investor, they don't have a ton of money, number one. Number two, the retail investor is very impatient and they cannot withstand a loss. And this is a conversation that I had with my father-in-law. My father-in-law is a financial advisor. Been doing it for 30 years. He says, Tyler, any time that I've ever put a client into something and it ended up being a loss for the year, they ended up leaving. And so many times, that same stock that I put them in, a couple years later, was up hundreds of %. But in that year's time, that first year they got in, year and a half, if it doesn't go up, they tell me to sell it, and then they never want to talk to me again. And I'll call them up 2, 3, 4 years later and be like, hey, so did you end up keeping any of that stock? Oh, no, I sold it at a loss. Oh, well, it's up 700% in the last 3 years. And the people go, oh, and they get mad at him. Why did you let me sell it? And he's like, because you argued with me that it was down and that I didn't know what I was talking about. So I said, go ahead, sell it then. And the same shit is happening right now. I have people in my comments, my Telegram, right? People losing their minds, people leaving. People are never going to get back into crypto. They're not going to dollar cost average. They're not going to be buying the blood. They're not going to be buying the red, right? If they even come back. Maybe they come back and they buy at the top again, which a lot of people will do. New people will come in. They'll get all excited based on the hype. They won't pay attention right now. They'll sell right now. They won't dollar cost average. They've lost conviction. Oh my God, it just hasn't done what I thought it was going to do in the last year or 6 months or 2 years. It just hasn't been the greatest market. So I'm going to leave. And instead of looking at the fundamentals, instead of looking at what's happening behind the scenes, and I'll give you a couple of examples like I've been giving you for a while, they'll only look at the price. That's all they'll look at. How much money am I making or losing? And then they'll go chase the next shiny penny. Well, you know what? Crypto's been really shitty the last year. I'm going to go buy gold at all-time highs. And what you'll see, and it will happen over and over and over and over again. And most people are not going to be listening. Most people are not going to believe what I'm saying, but I've seen it over and over again. It's what made me a multimillionaire before I was 30 years old. Because think, imagine if I decided to sell at the bottom and never buy crypto again. I would have missed out on thousands of percents in gains that I've gotten over the years. God forbid you go a year and you don't make any money. God forbid you don't make money right away. Oh my God. I thought that if I got into crypto that I was going to make hundreds of percent, thousands of percent, and become a millionaire in the next 12 months. It doesn't work that way. Could you hit a few that do that? We have EOS 100x, Pinlink 100x, Cardano 100x. We've had many 10 and 20 and 30x, meaning 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% gains. We've made a lot of money if you took profits over the last couple of years. But there's short-term investing and there's long-term investing, and you got to understand both. You got to understand that you don't always win right away. And you have to look at volatility as a gift. So we have something called the Clarity Act that is coming. It is 1,000% going to pass in Congress. That's going to give clarity to institutions, to the banking institutions, to big businesses, so they can start building and buying on the blockchain. There's only so much Ethereum. There's only so much Bitcoin. Eventually, there's going to be a supply shock once again. Eventually, what's going to happen is the government is going to print a bunch of money, and you're going to see risk on assets like crypto gather a shit ton of that money that they're going to print. So in the meantime, what smart investors do is they just keep on buying, not necessarily worrying about the price today, but what it could be in the future. And you have projects like, I talk about this all the time. Look at EOS at 11 cents. It went to $1.30. You're looking at a 13x, 1,300% to go back to its all-time high. You don't have to worry about supply because we've already seen that happen. Look at Internet Computer sitting at $3.50. Aptos sitting at $1.90. WorldCoin sitting at 62 cents. Go look at these. Go Cardano. Go look at all of these cryptos and ask yourself, why was everybody so excited and buying at the all-time highs, and why is no one buying and no one paying attention right now where they're approaching all-time lows? Wouldn't it make sense when you know what's coming with the Clarity Act? You know what's coming with the blockchain. The bankers are switching their mindset. The JP Morgans of the world, the Jamie Dimons of the world are finally switching their mind on Bitcoin. We know that tokenization is going to be a massive, massive, massive thing in the future. You have all this positive news and infrastructure being built on the back end. Meanwhile, the prices of these crypto has been decimated. Wouldn't it make sense to buy when things are just disgusting and bloody and keep on buying and keep on dollar cost averaging the lows? Or does it make sense to come in a year from now or 2 years from now when we're at all-time highs? See, are you going to think like retail, or are you going to think like a fucking investor? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys like, share, follow. Don't lose your conviction. This is going to be the biggest opportunity of your life if you can make it through the downside.